Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Little Guys Home Technology live stream podcast, which is sponsored by AudioQuest, Integra, and Golden Ear, three companies dedicated to high-performance audio and getting you the best sound possible. I'm David.
And I'm Evie, and we're excited to bring you this live stream.
The Little Guys store is located at 191st and LaGrange Road, where Mokina meets I-80, easy to get to from just about everywhere. I mean, It is easy to get to from everywhere. Let's just leave it like that. You can check us out at thelittleguys.com. You can email us anytime at info@thelittleguys.com. And you can call the store at 708-754-8844. We make house calls all over Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, Southwest Michigan. It's best to have some dialogue with us first, phone or email or in-store, and we can determine if we should do a walkthrough. We'll come out. We'll check the gear out. We'll check your home, your business, your commercial application, whatever it is, and we'll figure out what's next. What do we do? What are the possibilities? A lot of different options. We'll sit and discuss the possibilities and check for wire paths and things like that while we're out there. We do charge for this service based on location. It's cheap. It's $100 or $125 depending on where we're going, and it gives us a more concrete plan to follow. Is really what happens, and you can do it with taking pictures and coming into the store and sitting down with us, and we'll work with you that way as well. It's just nice to have a for sure.
Right, especially if you're combining old technology and new technology. Sometimes we can make it happen, and sometimes it just won't work.
Right.
And instead of us getting on a job site and finding out it won't work,
right,
we have us come out beforehand and see the best way to use what you already have.
That's perfect. And we will also want to invite you to comment or ask questions throughout the entire podcast. Like us on Facebook. Check us out there as well. All right, so we're moving. So this has been a point of confusion for some people.
For lots of people. Well,
we're moving. We are not closing.
That's our fault.
This is not a restaurant saying that we're moving or remodeling. This is a business telling you that that we are changing. We may change locations. We may stay in the same plaza in a smaller space.
Right.
That's our first preference, and we're trying to work on that. And the landlord's been cooperative so far. We're just trying to come to some conclusion on that. We're back and forth in a little bit. We just don't have an answer yet. Right? Regardless, whatever we're going to do, it will be in this area.
Correct. Right. And in the meantime, we need to downsize this space. So we have an awful lot of things on display that we're letting go really cheap just to condense a little bit and get ready for this smaller
space. We are
space
going to literally downsize to a showroom type experience. We're gonna it'll be a little less retail-y and a little more showroomy, where we have a little more hands-on experiencing the gear itself in a control type situation. It's just a little different concept. The retail world has changed. The world out there has changed. We're not afraid to talk about it.
Right.
It's just the reality. I mean, we've been doing this in a variety of different ways for the last 20-something years for the Little Guys, and 20-something years before that with Musicraft. We've tried changes. We've made adaptations. We've done different things. I got an email or a note from one of the guys, I think it was on Facebook the other day, an old friend who said, God, you guys are moving again? And I go, well, let's see, 15 years in Glenwood, 8 years where we are.
Right.
It's not like we move every 2 weeks or something, right? It's been twice in 23 years. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, really, or whatever. But it's something we need to do.
We did move 3 times.
Well, you're
because
right.
We were in Glenwood in that one plaza,
and we moved down
to a bigger space.
Right.
So at that time we were going bigger, and now we're going smaller.
The important thing here is come and take advantage of the moving sale.
Yeah, there
are
great prices,
ridiculous deals or whatever. I mean, just crazy deals, and a lot of display models that we're moving or whatever, but new stuff too. And I mean, just as an example. There's a reduction on AudioQuest analog cables, and there's a reduction on AudioQuest power cords, and there's significant price moves on those, and all the Palliser seating that's on display is at least 30% off.
Correct.
Right? For all the Palliser seating that's on display, and every turntable on display is at least 30% off.
Right.
There's speakers and every kind of speaker, right? I mean, towers, bookshelves, in-wall, in-ceiling, indoor, outdoors, every kind of speaker imaginable anywhere from 15 to 50% off.
Yep.
So I mean, crazy good deals, really good stuff. There's if you're doing an in-ceiling speaker system, there's a Sonance THX like in-ceiling speaker. Their Cinema series, retail for over was it like $3,400, $3,700?
The Sonance?
Yeah,
$5,150.
$5,100.
I wrote out the tag, so I remember.
Retail for over $5,000 for the 5 in-ceiling speakers, 3 up front, 2 rears, and they're 50% off. They're actually a little more than 50% off. I mean, there's just crazy good deals. Furniture, projectors, all the Masters and Dynamics headphones are 20%.
Can we talk about that one projector?
We can talk
the
about
B-Stock?
whatever projector you want. We have a Sony VLP VW1000, which is
4K.
the original 4K projector that they made. That does not have their mod that allows for 4K streaming. In order to do 4K programming on the projector and not use the up conversion that's built in order to do straight 4K production on the projector, you'd have to buy a little thing from a company called HD Fury. It's a few $100, and it's a little adapter, and it works great, and it would give you it would make it full blown 4K. All right, this does not have the Sony mod on it, but it's a refurb unit from Sony. It was a B stock.
Right.
It is in great condition. It works fine, and it was originally $25,000.
Yep.
And it's $7,500.
$7,500. I mean, that's a great price,
Crazy
and
good deal.
It's a great projector. I mean, we have the same one at home.
We have a modified version.
Ours has the mod.
Yeah.
Oh, we also have a mod here, don't we?
Yeah, we have a modified version here at the store that was would have made it $27,000 or $28,000, and that one is on sale for $17,000, and I think we just reduced it to $15,000. So that one's also on sale. There's all kinds of really good deals. I mean, we're talking about some high end stuff, but there's lots of great deals on lots of different stuff. So just come on down and check it out and save some money.
Right.
We can't mention all the brands. We got in trouble for that once. We had to remove one of the things, but virtually everything we sell.
Wait, so you get a projector, you need a screen. You can show it on the wall. Don't get that paint on screen stuff. It's horrible. You can show it on the side of the garage, whatever. But you get a nice projector, get a screen. Our screens that we have on display are 50% off.
At least. Some of them are even more.
Well,
there's some screens
the Cinecurve is
well, that one
150% off. I mean, it's
no.
it's insanely
It's marked
cheap.
way down, but we have some screens that are just that have been laying around for a little while that we haven't used necessarily that are extremely cheap. You can pick up a screen for a couple $100 if you want to. I mean, there are some really inexpensive, high quality big screens, so that you can use with projectors. So depending on what you're looking for. All right, enough on that. Let's get to the podcast, and we're going to talk about more of this at the end, I promise. But let's talk about some misconceptions that are out there regarding products and technology in general.
Okay.
For example, Comcast or AT&T will come in, give me internet, and set up my network. Partially true. Comcast and AT&T will come in and give you internet. Comcast will be faster, speed-wise.
Even though AT&T is advertising their fiber network stuff.
Comcast is faster. With rare exception, AT&T cannot provide the same speeds that Comcast can. There are some exceptions. If you're in the exact right neighborhood with the exact right fiber line going to the right place and the right thing, you can get some pretty good high speed. Now, there are some people in condos where they don't have a choice. They have to do whatever the association did.
Right.
Or there's some people moving into new developments where Comcast has not brought lines to yet, where they have no choice. Mm-hmm. Right? They just have no option. That's the way it is. And their builder made a deal with AT&T or that kind of thing. But either one. We're agnostic. Whichever one you want to use is okay with us. The key is they put in a box and tell you your network's ready, right? And that box is a modem, it's a router, it's a switch, and it's a wireless access point, all in one box typically. Not good. It doesn't do any of those things well.
Right.
Right. Instead of focusing on the individual tasks that specific product should have, it does all of them poorly, and in most cases gives you a good Wi-Fi spot if you stand on your left foot with your right hand extended
In the corner.
in the kitchen or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's just not really the right way to do it. So yes, they'll bring you internet, but no, they will not set up your network correctly. No, you will not have good internet throughout the house. You will not have Wi-Fi as you should. You
What about
won't
the
have an
thing-
outdoor WAP.
They're advertising something now about they're going to put Wi-Fi throughout the house.
So they've put these little boxes in each room, and each one is individually controlled, and they can turn them on and off at certain times so your kids can't get the Wi-Fi. Like, your kid isn't smart enough to hook onto a different Wi-Fi spot if that one's turned off, right?
I don't know. Our kids, when we had there were codes for certain channels and stuff
Right,
like that,
right, forget about
they knew them right
And
immediately.
the other thing is they'll use your neighbor's Wi-Fi. So
Right.
what's it? They'll figure out the code for that one or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of new ways of doing things or different ways of doing it. And by the way, we're not just talking about residential. We do a lot of commercial network stuff. We do a lot of offices and restaurants and those kind of things. And not only can we make it so that you have good Wi-Fi, but we can actually make it so you have good cellular reception within that space as well. So whether it's in the house or in your office or in a building somewhere, we can bring good cell signal from virtually all of the carriers at this point into the house or into the building. Whatever signal's on the outside, as good as that signal is, we can amplify that and bring it into the house and spread it out as we need to as well. All right. So network stuff, really critical, really important, and you really need professionals to do it correctly.
Well, and also, I mean, Comcast and I think AT&T, they'll supply the equipment. Well, that's because they're supplying junky equipment, and then you're leasing it. You're paying for it every month.
10 times over before
right.
it's
So
over.
after a year, I mean, how often do they come out and change and give you the upgraded version of whatever it is? So you're essentially paying for it anyway by renting it every month.
It's really a good idea. We have I cannot think of an incident where or a job where we put in a network, and afterwards the people said, "Well, we couldn't tell any difference." Every single network we put in, every job we do that way, people are thrilled. I mean, it makes everybody in the house happy.
Yep.
It's just the right way to do it. So, all right. It's the only thing. I'm back to some one second. The only thing is, it's not sexy. It's not a cool new big TV on the wall, right? It's not a cool
Right,
new
you don't
subwoofer.
invite your friends over and say,
Hey,
"Hey,
look at my network.
Check out my network.
You
Hey,
see my router?
Check my Wi-Fi. You know, I want you to go in this closet
Right.
and check your Wi-Fi. See how good it is."
But I promise you, if your Wi-Fi is no good, your friends will let you know that. That's
Right.
for sure.
That's true.
Positively right. All right, let's do another misconception that's out there. Subwoofers are really bassy, boomy, and they take up a lot of space.
First of all, both of those things can be true. An inexpensive subwoofer can be very boomy. And the bigger they are, usually the less expensive they can be because they have that big box to create the bass with. So yeah, a low cost subwoofer can be bassy and huge. If you get a good quality subwoofer, it can be small and really smooth
And impactful, right? I mean,
Yes.
you feel the bass. The bass is there. It's tight. It's clean. It's not boomy. You can make it boomy if you want to, but it's not boomy. It's tight and clean. And then the combination of adding a second sub in the room, if it's possible, really eliminates the null or the spot in the room where there is no bass. What typically happens is when you put a single sub in a room, with some exceptions, you put a single sub in a room, some of the parts of the room are really good, really tight, clean, and some parts have very little bass. And you crank the woofer up to make more bass in the spot where there is none, and then it's too boomy in other spots.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have two woofers in the room, you can really work together to eliminate a null.
Right. It's not very often that one person is watching a movie sitting in the sweet spot. You know,
Right.
It's usually the whole family's hanging around, maybe some friends and neighbors. So you have lots of people watching it. Somebody's losing out.
Even the big subs today aren't mammoth like they used to be. I mean, big subs in the old days were literally coffee table like. They were huge. They were really gigantic. Even the big SVS sub or the big JL audio subs aren't these gigantic boxes. The technology has gotten so good that the amplifiers are better. The construction of the box is better. It doesn't have to be that big, gigantic, monstrous thing to get good bass.
And little shout out to women. What is wrong with a subwoofer? Why are you always complaining you want to get rid of that little box? I mean, put a plant on it, or
here's a perfect example.
Statue or something.
What happened last week? A couple came in, and they said, we want to get a good sound bar. We want to eliminate our equipment. And I said, well, what equipment do you have? Well, you guys sold us a system about 9 years ago, 10 years ago, even longer, and it was monitor audio speakers, and a really good monitor audio sub, and a receiver. And as opposed to updating the receiver into today's world, they wanted to eliminate that system, get rid of the boxes, and have a really good soundbar. And I said, well, I have to tell you, you are trading in your Mercedes.
You're going backwards, yeah.
For I don't know, do they still make Yugos? I mean, for whatever the cheapest, it just doesn't make any sense. I said, we're happy to do it for you. Don't get us wrong, but we don't think it makes sense. We don't think it's a smart play. And we played some of the best sound bars there are for them. Yes. Played the Blue Sound soundbar, and both, you could see the look on their face, and they looked at each other and said, maybe we need to rethink this because this just doesn't sound like our system.
Yeah, it doesn't
well, how could it? As great as the Blue Sound soundbar is, and it is great. I mean, it's amazing. It's not a full-blown surround sound system with a big woofer and a big receiver and a big amplifier. I mean, it's never going to be.
Right.
It wasn't intended to be. It's a substitute for that. So they have to rethink their plans. That's pretty typical, but it really was a move to eliminate the boxes because the boxes are boxes, right? They're in the space. Well, in today's world, today's speakers have a much smaller footprint, or they go on the wall, or they go in the wall.
Right.
And today's in walls and in ceilings sound as good as floor models and bookshelf speakers sound.
I mean, even in the last 8-10 years, the in walls and in ceilings have gotten better.
Yeah, and the last couple of years, the focus has been on higher performance. At staying in the wall and more consistency.
So I guess if you want to, rethink the decor, you don't want the boxes around. And JL Audio makes in-wall subwoofers that are killer.
They're definitely there. So, which leads us to another one, which is I can't have good bass in my outdoor system. My outdoor system plays loud,
right?
But there's never enough bass. Yeah. There's never quite enough bass or whatever, and that's a thing of the past too. With today's in-ground subs, which you can choose not to put in the ground, I suppose, but kind of ugly. With today's in-ground subs, you can have as much bass as you want without massive amplification and massive other things. They kind of work in conjunction with the existing system. Some come with their own amplifiers that stay in the house, but there's lots of choices in outdoors subs, so you can have bass outside.
And it doesn't have to be explosions, car crash, that kind of bass.
I just mean deep, rich, full bass,
yes.
Like when you're rocking out or whatever. Or even if you're listening at low levels.
It does. It adds body to the music.
Here's another one.
Does.
A 4K TV has a good picture, so why not pick out the cheapest one?
4K is 4K.
Right. Doesn't make any difference.
Well, why aren't they all the same price then?
There's a huge difference. Just because a TV is 4K does not mean it has a good picture. It may have the right resolution technically, with bad video processing, bad power supply, bad color accuracy, grainy, edgy-looking pictures. There is 4K that doesn't look that good. There's plenty of it out there, that's for sure, and you got to be really careful. There's a reason that Samsung, well, I'm not sure what the reason that Samsung makes 32 different models is, but there are 32 different series is, but there's a reason that Sony makes 4 series. Or 5 series. There's a reason that Samsung has different series. There's a reason that LG has different levels of performance. There definitely is differences in the pictures. 4K is the place you want to start, but there's definite differences in the specific images and differences in the ability of the TV to show color accurately. You want red to be red, Coke can red, as Ryan would say. You want Coke can red to be red. You want the right shade of blue for Cubby blue. You want the White Sox black and white to have the contrast that's supposed to have. We won't talk about the Bears orange and blue or navy or whatever it is. But you want the colors to be correct. and you want the motion to be as minimal as possible, no motion issues, and you want everything to you just want to enjoy the television picture and not be thinking about it.
And you really want to see what it's going to look like in your home with the things that you watch. Are you watching over-the-air antenna? Do you have Comcast, DirecTV, Dish Network? Do you have any of those things, or do you just watch 4K computer-generated commercials or whatever they're
It's
showing?
really important that you see it the right way. I was watching a TV up front with somebody the other day, and the lady said, "I don't want a 3D TV." And I said, What do you mean? She goes, "Well, this is obviously a 3D TV that you don't need glasses for." And I said, "No, this is just a Sony television that's reproducing an image that makes it look 3D because that's how this was filmed. I mean, the depth is there. You're seeing the depth or whatever." She said, "Well, this is like unbelievable." And I said, "Well, there's no 3D issue here.
You put glasses on if you want, but
You don't need them." So big difference there. I need a computer to store music on a hard drive in my home.
Eesh.
Not necessarily the case. You can have one. You can have a separate hard drive that works with your computer, but you can also have a Blue Sound vault.
I don't know if you're like me. I mean, with my music, I tend to put it all in one place. But pictures, I have everywhere. I have in this file, and that file, and the other file. And that happens to a lot of people with music, depending on the way you're putting it on your computer. Are you ripping a CD from your drive? Are you getting it from iTunes or Amazon or, whoever? And, are all your files all condensed in one so that you can access your music easily? Or are you constantly saying, well, what file did I put that in?
If you have a Blue Sound vault, it can be the hard drive that you can direct things to from your computer. It lives on your network, just a network drive, and you can send all your streaming stuff and all that stuff there. You can rip your CDs right onto it. Had a guy this morning with a 300 disc changer that was broken, and like I tried to explain to him, there are no more 300 disc changers.
Haven't been in a while.
Good luck online or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You buy somebody else's 8-year-old or 10-year-old, 7-year-old, multi-mega changer. But if you could just take the time, few a day, over the next month or so, you could rip your 200 CDs into the hard drive, and they take about 8 minutes each, 10 minutes each.
Yep.
It's so easy to do. Put the vault on your desk while you're working, and stack up some CDs, and every once in a while pop one in there. I mean, figure out a way to do it so it's not you're not just sitting there doing it, and you'll be so glad, so happy. I mean, all your music is at touch of a fingertip. You create your own playlists. Yeah, you also gain the additions of Spotify and Tidal and TuneIn Radio and all the other streaming things that are there.
Right.
But check out the
Bluetooth.
Blue Sound Vault.
It's Bluetooth. I mean, maybe you have something on your phone, or your friend is over with their phone and they have some music they want you to listen to. You can do that right to the vault.
We're going to skip this next one because it's a show in itself about speaker wires and cables and that they're all the same, and we've had this argument for a million years or whatever. We know they're not all the same. We know it's not the case. We know that all speaker wire isn't the same. That lamp cord is not good enough. We'll go over that. We'll spend a whole half hour on that at some point, just discussing wires and cables.
We could talk about speaker gauge just a little bit, because in America everyone thinks a higher number is bigger.
Right.
But that's not true for speaker wire.
No,
it's the lower the number is the thicker the cable.
And there's more to it. It's how many strands there are. Is it solid conductors or twisted pairs?
Sure, but I'm just talking just in general.
Yeah.
People go out and buy 18 gauge wire thinking, well, it's got to be better than 16,
right.
But it's not. It's worse.
The one thing I do want to get to, and then we're going to talk about the sale again for a couple of minutes. One thing, a common misconception that's out there is that small companies, like the little guys, can't compete with pricing from the big guys on TVs and electronics and those kind of things. And that is 100% false. We are absolutely competitive with any of the big box stores, any of the legitimate online places that, again, authorized resellers of product. We are competitive on those products. We are competitive on the TVs and the receivers and the speakers, and we have the same prices or lower than those places do. We're part of a national buying group that does over $1 billion in business. We have the we have the power of what the Home Technology Specialists of America brings us. We're a bunch of dealers across the country that work together and pool their numbers so that the big suppliers and manufacturers do pay attention to us and do treat us like we're a big guy and take care of us. So more importantly, we have better products than those other places have as a rule. If you're typically at a Costco, they may have the entry. Well, first of all, they have their own model, right, that they bid on and said we're going to give you $264.78 for a 55-inch TV. Now make one for us.
Right.
Those are the only requirements. 55-inch TV. That's it. That's what we want. We're not worried about the color of the frame. We're not worried about the quality of the picture. We're not worried about how many inputs. We're not worried about processing. None of that matters. Mm-hmm. This is how big a TV we need for this much money. So they have those series, and we don't have those. I have to say that we don't have that. But what we do have is the better series from the same brand. So the better series from Sony, the better series from LG, the top-of-the-line series from Samsung. Those things are available through the little guys. And we are competitive on the pricing on those. That's for sure. So no worries there. We're competitive on those products, and we can be competitive on those products. It's not an issue. All right, moving sale again, real quick. We are moving. We may be moving sideways, but we are moving, and we are clearing out the store, just like we were getting ready to pick up the store and move it somewhere else. We're selling everything in the building. I mean, we want all the displays to be gone. We want to start fresh in the new design showroom, and we want to be able to pick out new models and changes and do whatever we're going to do. So we want to start with a clean slate. So for now, every speaker, every electronics in the place, all the headphones, all the cables, wires, everything in the building is marked down for this event. Some things are, 10% and 5%. Some things are as much as 30, 40, 50%. It just varies depending on what it is.
One thing you didn't mention was credenzas, which a lot of people just call cabinets. Furniture. Well, not just seating, but BDI Salamander, the furniture that's on display in the store is 30% off. We have backups of most of the things where it's, brand new. Some people just want brand new. And those are discounted as well.
Yeah, so. I mean, there's a couple of exceptions in the store. There's some things that you don't make enough money on to discount at all. So there's definitely a couple of exceptions in the store, but not many. It'll be hard to find them. So come on in, take advantage. It's the Little Guys, 191st and LaGrange Road in Mokina, Illinois. Easy to get to. Check us out at thelittleguys.com. You can check us out on Facebook. You can. We even have a Twitter thing, but we never Twitter. And
whatever we put on Facebook ends up on Twitter, but it's unreadable.
And we want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening and paying attention to the Little Guys.
Did you say the phone number?
I did not say the phone number. What is it?
It's 708-754-8844. And the store is open Monday through Thursday from 10 to 6 and Friday and Saturday 10 to 5.
Closed on Sundays. And you can email us info at thelittleguys.com, and we will reply quickly.
Right. And you just, ask random questions.
There you go. All right. I'm David.
I'm Evie.
And we are out of here. Bye-bye.